Coronation Street spoilers, who pushed Ken Barlow as he is left for dead. Full suspect list revealed. Ken Barlow has been left for dead in Coronation Street as his whole family has imploded and, with him being discovered at the foot of the stairs, it is set to be revealed that he has been pushed, triggering a whodunit storyline that will tear the clan apart. But as Ken struggles for life, many Corrie favorites are holding grudges and secrets, and this will be no easy case to crack. With plenty of people having their eye on revenge, an investigation will be launched and blame will fly, but who has tried to kill Ken? Here are the names currently in the frame. Peter Barlow. Motive. Peter and Ken have clashed on many occasions, with a row between the pair triggering a stroke for Ken not so long ago. Peter has always had issues with Ken's fathering ability, and things came to a head recently when Peter blamed Ken for the crumbling of his relationship with Toya. Ken automatically believed the worst of Peter when Chloe spread her poison, and when Ken shared the allegations with Toya, she dumped him and sped off with her ex Toby. Angry at losing everything again and looking to lash out, has another row between Peter and Ken ended with Ken's life on the line. Where was he? We last saw Peter smashing a bottle of booze in the flat, having resisted the temptation to drink, before storming out in anger. Was he heading to number 1? When Toya returns to find Peter packing his bags, is Peter trying to escape his crime? Tracy Barlow. Motive. Tracy feels desperately pushed out by Ken, feeling that he values his real children and grandchildren more than he does her and Amy. She was also disgusted when she heard her dad slating his life with Deirdre and fuming when he denied her the cash to buy the premises for the flower shop. Feeling that her father is against her, has Tracy lashed out like she did when she killed Charlie Stubbs and set that fire in Carla Connor's flat. Tracy has form and may have claimed another victim. Where was she? Tracy was at the recital, but when Amy went missing, she was out in the street and Guile looking for her, leaving her ample opportunity to slide into the house for a few moments to confront Ken. Daniel Osprey. Motive. Daniel already has a number of issues, not least of all his feelings of abandonment from both his mum and dad, and we have seen flashes of his temper more than a few times, suggesting that he is capable of violent acts. With his mum Denise missing, many viewers have already been suspecting that he has killed before. Ken has been interfering in Daniel's relationship with Syed, intent for his son to go to Oxford rather than settling on the street. But when Syed lost the baby, Daniel later discovered that she had had an abortion on the back of pressure from Ken to free Daniel for Oxford. Distraught, did Daniel blame Ken fully for the tragedy and lash out? Where was he? Daniel read an inscription in a book given to him by Ken, and his mood darkened before he then left Syed a desperate phone message. Heading out, he sat alone in the shop flat, clearly troubled. He arrived at number 1 to find Phelan standing over Ken, but was he returning to the scene of his own crime? Adam Barlow. Motive. Adam and Ken have had some fierce clashes, and Adam believes Ken will never accept him fully as part of the family. Things got worse when Ken torched the cash Adam had owed drug dealer Rua, leading to Adam being attacked. The pair became more estranged than ever, and a disgusted Ken banished Adam back to Canada, leaving his grandson seething and hurt. Where was he? Everyone thinks he was in Canada, but viewers saw him looming near the house before then heading back out of town on a bus. Did he come back purely for revenge and then flee? Amy Barlow. Motive. At the center of the family troubles, Amy has been struggling to deal with the constant animosity and was also affected by what Ken said about Deirdre. Later, she snuck off from the recital and was caught back at number 1 by Ken. Feeling defensive over her mum and her late gran, has Amy hit out at Ken. And has she inherited her mom's killer streak? Where was she? Amy was missing and had ended up back at number 1, leaving her enough time to have a potentially deadly row with Ken. See ad Tinker. Motive. After Ken made his disdain for her clear, Ad was utterly devastated and felt pushed into having an abortion in order to free Daniel for a life in Oxford. But the loss of the child and the heartbreak over how she was spoken to has left Ad on edge, and she admitted to Beth that it was Ken's words which pushed her to take the decision she now regrets. Feeling lost and fragile, Ken's words rang in Ad's ears as she despaired perhaps she found a way to try and silence them. Where was she? Having hit the booze, a devastated Ad arrived at number 1 and hammered on the door in search of Daniel but got no answer. That won't necessarily have stopped her from finding another way in for a heated showdown with Ken. Pat Phelan. Motive. Nobody crosses Pat Phelan. You could ask his previous victims Michael and Andy if they weren't so dead. After Ken accused him of doing a botch job on the kitchen and then ranted how Phelan was lucky Ken even gave him the time of day, Phelan was left seething and vented his fury in front of both Billy and Todd. And we all know what happens when Phelan loses control. Where was he? Phelan was at the scene of the crime, found by Daniel standing over Ken. Phelan claimed to have just walked in and found Ken in that state, but with no alibi and a checkered past, Phelan has to be one of the top suspects. Toya Battersby. Motive. Toya has given up everything for Peter and has just settled down and looked to the future with a relationship and an IVF journey. So when Ken told her Chloe's lies about Peter cheating and hitting the booze again, she was crushed and left Peter. However, if she then realized that Ken was wrong, might she have blamed him for the rift growing between her and Peter? Or might she have headed for number 1 to get clarification from Ken and things spiraled out of control as Ken ranted about Peter, leaving Toya feeling defensive? Where was she? Toya had driven away with Toby, but she later came back to stop Peter from leaving after changing her mind and realizing that he needed her. Did she make a stop at number 1 first? Eccles. Motive. Terrible dog food, lack of walkies and constant tension. Eccles has never had much of a voice in the house and she is downright sick of it. Pushed to the edge, has Eccles made a dog's dinner of her revenge? It's a barking theory, but perhaps she's more ruthless than we gave her credit for. Where was she? Lying in wait, ready to strike, we assume. Someone else. Of course, this is soap, so there are bound to be twists in store. Nobody should be trusted in Weatherfield and everyone should be viewed with suspicion. While the suspect list above reveals everyone who had a major grudge to bear with Ken, nothing is to say that there couldn't be another face in the frame. Could a visitor like Brian or Oris have caused an accident? Could a face from the past like Denise or Rob have arrived seeking a bloody revenge? Could someone utterly unexpected be holding a secret grudge that none of us even know about? A scorned lover perhaps? Anything is possible.